Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is Favour Fashion House. So in today's video, we're going to be learning how I made this beautiful shift dress. Okay, today is the pattern drafting. Please stay tuned, watch to the end. So right here, I'm going to be needing my pattern paper, my scissors, ruler, marker, and tape. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using for the combination, and this is my crepe fabric. For my crepe fabric, I use 2 years of fabric, and for my other fabric, the one I want to use for the design, I use half yard of fabric. So now I'm measuring the length of my paper to make sure the length and the width to make sure it's going to be enough. So I'm going to be coming down by half inch. I'm trying to draw out my shoulder line, which is also going to be our starting point. So after reading it out, I measured out the length of my dress, which is 38 inches, bow, the hemming allowance, everything inclusive, 38. So next I'm going to be drawing out is I'm going to measure from my shoulder to my bust point, and also from my shoulder to my waist point, and also my shoulder to my hip point. Then I'll mark them out. So after ruling them out, the next I'm going to do is this is a cut together sleeve. Yeah, so I'll measure from the my back neck bone. I'm going to measure from there to the place I want this sleeve to get to. Okay, this paper was not enough, so while cutting on the fabric I added extra inches for my sleeve length. So for my neck width I went in by 3 inches. So for my shoulder, I went down by half, 1 inch. Which is going to be our shoulder slope. So for my back neck depth, I used 1 inch. For my front neck depth, I used 3 inches and 7 inches. So I'm going to be connecting the lines together now. From the 3 inches of this front neck depth, I'm going to connect it in a curvy way to meet up with the 7 inches in a circle way. So now I'm drawing out my shoulder slope. I'm inputting my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2-inch seam allowance and ease allowance. You know, this is a shift dress, is not meant to be fitted, okay, meant to be free a little. And on my waistline, I put my waist measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches. You didn't need any that for this dress. My hip line, I did the same thing. My hip divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches. So I measure what I have on my hip line. I input it on my dress length. So I'm connecting the whole lines together. So for my bust line, I curve out where my armhole is going to be. So I'm cutting them out now. First of all, I'm going to be cutting the back pattern. Okay, then I'll use this pattern paper to cut out the back on the fabric, then before I'll cut out the front neckline. After cutting it, I'm going to open it up so I can do the manipulation for the design. So from my waistline, from the one side of my waistline, I went up by 2 inches. From the other side of my waistline, I came down by 2 inches. Then I connect the lines together in a slant way. So for my hip line from the other side also, I came down by 2 inches from my hip line. I came down by 2 inches. Then I connect it to the 2 inches I measure from the other side, the other waistline. So I'm trying to get that triangular shape. You can decide the place you want your own pointed side to be, either on the left or on the right side. So after connecting the whole line, I'm going to be cutting it out. Okay. So now I'm going to be folding my crepe fabric into two so I can cut out the back first. And while cutting the back, please put your zipper allowance, and also do not forget to add half-inch allowance on the down part for joining. You know the side we added allowance while cutting the side, so you don't need to add any allowance at the side. But for the down parts, you need to add half-inch allowance for the joining, and also bring out your zipper allowance. So on the sleeve, as you can see, I extended my sleeve length like I said earlier before. I'm opening my zipper allowance. So right now I'm going to be cutting the downside of this dress. I'm going to by 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. Then on the upper side, I I gave it half-inch allowance for the joining. Cutting the front side now. First of all, I'll open the neck line, the neck design of the front. I'm going to be cutting it out. After cutting it out, I'll place my fabric, the folded side facing the folded side of the fabric, then I'll cut it out. Please, while cutting, do not forget to add your half-inch allowance on the down part. Please, I'm sorry guys the way I'm sounding. I've been a little bit under the weather. That is why I'm sounding this way. Please guys, at this point, do not forget to subscribe, like and share my YouTube video. After cutting the front side, the upper side. So I'll open up my fabric, then I'll place my pattern paper on it. Then I'm going to cut out that slant. And while cutting the slant, add half inch allowance for your joining. So after cutting it, I'm going to be opening this pattern paper into two so I can be able to use it to cut out my back slants. So this is me making sure that everything is equal and is aligned together. So I'm going to be cutting the down part of the front. Now, so after cutting it out, I'm going to open it up, place my pattern paper on the fabric, then cut out the slant also, the same way I did on the front side, the upper side. And please do not forget to add your half inch allowance for joining. So after doing that, I'm going to be cutting the pattern paper into it. I'm going to be opening it up into two so I can place it on my back pattern on my back fabric, okay, and cut out the slant. As you can see, for the back fabric, what I did was I joined the zipper allowance. I placed it on top of each zipper allowance. I covered it up because there is no zipper allowance on the pattern, rather is on the fabric. So I covered it up, then I placed the pattern paper on it and I cut out the slant. Now we're going to be cutting out the design, okay. I'm using this Ankara fabric for it. Like I said earlier, I use half years of this Ankara fabric for it. So I'm going to be placing it on top and cutting it out. Please, while cutting, add allowance, half inch allowance on the upper side and the down parts for your joining. And please, there's a mistake I made while cutting the back of this design. The mistake I made while cutting it is, as you can see, the front side of this pattern is facing the front side. As you can see, the front side of the fabric is facing up while the front pattern is facing up also. So for the back one, your pattern paper should be facing the front of the fabric. I don't know if you understand, please. What I mean is, while cutting the back design now, make sure that your pattern the front pattern is facing the front fabric. The way it's facing up now, I'm supposed to turn it upside down, but I made that mistake, which I end up cutting another fabric for it. I just hope you guys understand. while cutting this design, add your zipper allowance also. You know that there is no zipper allowance on the pattern paper, rather you have to add it on your fabric. Now I'm done cutting out the fabrics. Okay, so for this one I'm going to be joining cutting facing for the neckline. And please watch out for the sewing tutorial of this video. I don't like my video too long because long videos are always boring. So that is why I make it cutting and also sewing video. So watch out for the sewing tutorial of this video, which is going to be the next video I'm going to be posting on my channel. So after sewing, this is how it's going to be looking like. So please guys, do not forget to like, subscribe and share my YouTube video. And I love you all. God bless you all. Bye.